you said earlier today, people absorb information differently. So if you look at like neurolinguistic programming, you have people who are very, like I'm autodidactic. I learn by myself. I can't learn through a teacher. I won't sit down, right? I have to absorb stuff by myself. But for me, I'm very tactile. I have to write it down. Like when I read a book, I'll rip out pages. I'll circle things around. And so there's a really good book I recommend to people called How to Read a Book by Mortimer Adler, printed in 1934.
Okay.
Meta-analysis of understanding the art of reading, right? And people view reading as transactional, meaning like, okay, I have to read every word. It's not. It's a relationship. Do what you want with the book. You want to start in the middle of the book? Sure. I want to rip out one page. If I just want to fucking study chapter 11, first page here of economics, that's all I'm going to study.
Got it.
So it's more of a like, what's your relationship to this book? So how it starts is like, okay, you got Michelle here. Who's fucking Michelle? Why the fuck did Michelle spend his whole time writing this? That's more important than the actual book, right? So then you have to understand his point of view. You know, he spent all this time, years of experience, now trying to digest it. So you have to understand, okay, where's he coming through at this? Next thing you can go like table of contents. Like, okay, how do you think? How is this book designed? You know, where do I want to start? Maybe some things I don't care about. Like, first thing that jumped into me was a hiring thing.
Got it.
Because I'm always hiring. I'm like, I don't give a shit about anything. You know, where is it? Where is it? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, hiring. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I care about, right? So I view it like that, and I think, just combination. Like, I really recommend How to Read a Book, and then like, I'll sometimes have the book of the author, the Audible, and podcasts
going at the same time.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Different sections. So I'm reading it.
That sounds awful to me.
For me, I absorb it. Because for me, it's not about like, people are like, oh, I read like 10 books. I'm like, fuck, I care about just reading. Like,
you know what thing, speaking of that, there's some people online that are like, I read a book a day. Or there's like this statistic I saw on Twitter, like the top CEOs in America read 60 books a year.
Yeah, right.
Like, what? Like, really? Like,
defined reading.
Yeah, who's believing this stuff?
Also, it's like so
do you know somebody that reads 60 books a year?
No. No, I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I relate it to AI. So people are like, wow, we got this AI and all this stuff, right? And the reason I'm relating it to AI and reading like 64 books is like, okay, we got all this data in the fucking cloud over there. We don't know what the data's about. We don't know shit. It's just data sitting in the cloud, right? Same thing like reading 64 books. Like, so what? It's random data I have. What am I doing with this fucking data?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Or so what? It's more. It's like what's one action item? It's like, oh, like for example, the hiring. That's an action item I can fucking do. Point. Data that I can use.
And that's a good point, because before I started reading the Grit book, that kind of it was shortly before I heard the recommendation to read that book. I was like, I want to increase my perseverance. And then serendipitously, I listened to that podcast, and she was, I respect the person who recommended it. And this book seems like it's right up my alley. So there was a desired outcome. That was the education that I was seeking. Whereas if you're like, I'm just going to read 60 books, I'm like, whoa, man, like, what path are you going? Like, why?
Yeah.
Is it for the knowledge?
Yeah.
Okay. But what do you do? Are you going to do anything with
knowledge? Knowledge is overrated. Knowledge. I know a lot of knowledgeable people. They're fucking dumb. Knowledgeable but dumb.
The other day, I was in a room with 9 people, and this entrepreneur was like, "You put 1,000 people in a room, one person's smart." And I like look around. I'm like, "Yo, man, you're in a room of 9 people. Which one of us is the dumb one, or are we all dumb?"
Yeah, yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, I didn't mean it that way." I'm like, "Well, how did you mean it then?"
Yeah.
Anyways,
it's crazy,
reminded
man.
me of that.